continuance. So, like I said, the officer was an African American officer. So, by telling him about the racial tension between officers and the African American community didn't seem unnorm. Okay, and so mind you, listen to how I keep telling you the race of the people, because I do feel like I'm also being targeted because I did become an advocate in regards to when Trayvon Martin was killed. It woke me up to displaying social media opinions when I usually was quiet about my opinions and how I felt justice needed to be served. On top of that, I start taking part in different um, clubs within my community where they performed protests. I was part of different protests, not the violent one. We was well, ours was called silent protest, where we would go to different communities and just sit, or we would go to the mall and walk in a line, quietly. We wasn't being destructive because I didn't believe in violence. I'm not to make myself sound like goody two shoe, but that was it. Also, I did an interview with our local newspaper and gave them my information about how I felt about the Trayvon Martin case and different things that was happening in our community. And by giving them my information, I don't know if that put me on a target list as a terrorist, because they thought anybody that protested in Black Lives Matter. I wasn't a part of Black Lives Matter, but it's still the same tactics that you was classified as a terrorist at that moment. So back to the story. So the officer comes, like I said, he knows my name, and I told him that I took a video. This man is watching me. He goes, "Oh, people watch me all the time, and people also take videos of me. And so, what can I do about it?" I said, "But sir, because you are a public figure, people are taking video of you for different reasons, because of your uniform, not because of who you are. I do not have on a uniform, and it's making me feel uncomfortable." And he goes, "Well, this man has a wife. If you want to talk to his wife about it, she wants to talk to you." I said, "I actually do want to." He thought I was going to get scared, I think, because the way he looked. I said, "I actually do want to talk to her because I feel her husband behavior is unwanted and she should know of his actions." And he goes, "Okay, well, I'm gonna let her know." I said, "Please do. Do you need me to give you my number?" Because that's what I was like. "Do you need me to give her a number, or do you want us to walk over there?" "No, that's fine. I will go get her, and then we'll find a time to talk. I will be back." And he never comes back, you guys. Problem never was solved. Okay, did the man actions slow down? Yes, after that. The man that I told you that was watching me slow down. And after that, when I seen him, I start getting courage, because I start talking to my friends at the time, who we all, I guess they wasn't implemented at the time. So they was like, "You need to check that man. Don't tell him, do you need, I even at that time I was talking to a guy, and he was like, "Do I need to come over there and do that?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't want to make it bigger than what it is." Because if you don't know your target, you don't want to feel like you're accusing somebody of behaviors that you are implementing in your own head. I said, "No, I'm just going to talk to him." So a few weeks went by. I talked to the same man. I said, "What is your problem? Why do I feel that you sit there and watch people? That's uncomfortable." And he goes, "Huh? I don't know what you're talking about." Of course they play dumb. I don't know I'm target. So that's what happened with that. Then as time goes by, I started to notice the mirroring behavior of your neighbor comes out when you come out. I'm like, this, so I'm looking like, oh my God. If I go take out my trash, the neighbor takes out his trash. This is a whole different guy, the one that lives straight next door to the place I was living. And I'm looking like, this is crazy. If I go sit in my car, this neighbor will be already out there in his car, just sitting there. When I get out my car and say you wanted me, I would do things to see if I'm tripping or not. So I will get out my car, go into the house, and then turn right back around to see if that person was still there, so that I can be like, "Oh, maybe they would have sitting in their car too." I go back, they're already gone. Like as soon as you come back or as soon as you leave, they done doing their job. Okay. And then on top of that, I started every time I went outside in the morning, this is in the AM, cars was honking their horn. don't even know who's doing it, don't even understand, just honking their horn. So now you guys imagine this. I'm going crazy. I'm like, what's going on? I'm hearing these horns. Like, what? I know I'm not the only one out here. Every time I would go outside a car, honk their horn. Or at the same time, because I had to be at my child's school within the same frame, a siren, a big fire engine siren would be mashing down my street. If it wasn't a horn honking, it was always a fire siren or some type of police siren. So I'm like, every time I come out, there's a fire. That ain't that much fire in the world. There's a police car patrolling, you guys. So now you imagine how you feel. I was so paranoid. I would go in a house and have anxiety attacks where I would just like breathing real hard and sweating because I started getting fear of even coming outside. Where it was time when my alarm would go off to go pick up my kids from school. I only have two boys at that time. I would like start looking at the clock like I gotta walk outside. There's gonna be that man out there. I gotta walk outside. There might be somebody honking the horn. I gotta walk outside. There's fire trucks, and there goes the red cars. I start tripping out. So I'm in a state of anxiety. Then when I said in the dark, you guys, the depression start kicking in, the thoughts stop kicking in. But guess what? The prayers start getting stronger, the closeness to God start getting stronger because I'm like asking God to help me now. So these tactics brought me to my awakening today. So everything is not in vain. Okay. So now all of a sudden, that's when I started to Google different things. Thank God for people that was posting stuff on YouTube, which is why I'm doing the same thing. When I started Googling, I just started Googling, seeing red cars all the time, seeing white cars all the time, people honking all the time. Just start Googling different things until it led me to gang stalking. And I start reading and hearing other people's testimony. I'm like, oh my God, the same thing's happening to me. But then the thoughts of why me? So I called a private investigator. No, I called a lawyer who was a criminal defense lawyer. I called and told this man, I'm going through this. I don't know if I did any criminal activity. I know the guy I was dating at that time had conducted criminal activity. So I don't know if they're trying to investigate me because of this. I don't know. I said, but I have nothing to do. And he was like, well, if you had nothing to do with it, don't worry. Don't panic. And he said, and if it's a FBI situation, he said, even if you hire me, I can't help you because that's out of my jurisdiction. But don't worry, if you didn't do nothing, you have nothing to worry about, right? I said, that's right. And he said, but you can call me anytime to get any questions and stuff like that. I think he knew what was going on because he probably heard of it before because the way he was so calm and answering questions, or he's just a good guy. God just sent that man to me because he was very patient and answering my questions, even out of me just calling out of the blue. Okay, y'all. So now guess what? Here it comes. I start Googling stuff like I stated, and that's when I realized you fit the category of being someone who's being stalked and targeted. So now I'm starting to be aware of my surroundings and starting to calm down, starting to release the fear of anxiety, but still have the fear of what is this going on? Are they going to attack me? What is going to happen? So I start putting my guard up. But what then, like they say, kill you made you stronger. It started to make me stronger to the point where I was eating and sleeping researching about being a target. You guys, I have every time I will write stuff down, watch people videos, write down license plate, take pictures of everybody, the video every time I come outside. I became addicted to finding out what is going on, but that drove me crazy. I don't do that anymore. I always try to write descriptions of what color the car was, what time they came, what the license plate. So if I see it again, and guess what? One thing did happen. It taught me how to um investigate and find out what's going on, because it was this one car, like I said, that kept leaving at the same time I entered the freeway. So what happened with that situation, because I did know the license plate, I couldn't mistake it for a different car. I knew for a fact this is the same person. So with that situation, I started focusing only on that person and not nobody else, so that I can target that person so that it can now turn into a stalking situation. So with that being said, I I had to make another police report. And I called the police. I said, this man is driving this such and such car. Here's his license plate, and here's a picture of the license plate, because I had bought me a surveillance camera for my car. I said, as you can see, I'm leaving at different times of the day. And this person was following me, you guys, in the AM and the PM, all the way in a whole different school district, because I didn't keep my kids in the same school district. Remember, I told you my son was going to different schools. So I was in a whole different school district. But this person lived where I live and will follow me all the way to my kids' school in a whole different school district. But the thing how they would follow me was my school district. My child's school is when I exit the freeway, I make a right. This person always made a left. But when I was leaving to go home, this person end up, I don't know where they was waiting for me at, on a freeway right behind me on my way home. On the way dropping off my kids in the morning, this person will be behind me or beside me or exiting at the same time as me in the morning. Like wasn't even hiding it. That's like you said, they want you to know that you're being followed and harassed. So that's when the truth start coming out, because now this is what I call the reveal stage, where they want to reveal to you that yes, this is happening to you. Because for them to be that sloppy and obvious, they wanted you to be seen. Because then I start taking different routes. I said, well, I'm not going to take the free, I'm going to take the street. Man, why was the same white car taking the street? Okay, so then this is when I made my report and I told the police what's happening. And the police kept trying to deny the actions that was happening. How do you know they're following you? How you know it's somebody else? I said, because, sir, if you look at the video, I don't need to look at the video. Well, the video recording shows the same person in different areas, but always at the same time of my traveling, right? I said, that's impossible. I said, sir, so if you had a wife and kids and they came to you and said, hey, this white car, yes, it was a white, like a white Toyota. Dad, every time I leave, this white car is there. Dad, when I come home, the same white car is there, following you in action, not just in the same facility like parked, but following you all the way to different destinations. You wouldn't bring up a red flag. Like that's not normal. Coincidence happening every now and then, but every day or every other day, that's not a coincidence. And then that's when he looked at me. And after that, me and that officer got off topic. He was a younger officer and was talking about things like it broke his barrier down to feel more empathy towards me. And he was like, man, you sound like a good person. Don't let this stress you out. Just be cautious. And he started giving me safety tips. If someone is following you, don't drive faster. You actually drive slower. That's how you know if someone is following you. He started giving me all these tips. I guess he started feeling bad. Like, dang, like she's right. If this was my family member, what would I tell him? And then so he also said, when you're entering a freeway, get right off at the next exit. Even if it's not your exit that you want to get off on, just to see if that car gets off too. And then you jump right back on the freeway. Start giving me all these tactics. And I was like, yeah. So we became that day and we was talking so much. We was out there for like an hour just talking. Very nice guy. He got a call and he said, oh, well, I got to go. Yeah. Like he was like, because I started talking to him about the African American community, about how we felt about police brutality, that not everybody feels that all people are involved, like all officers are bad. I just wanted him to know that we do appreciate our fellow officers, that it's just the bad ones we're trying to weed out. Just like in every race, you have good white people, bad white people, good black people, bad black people, good Chinese, bad Chinese people. There's just people that does their own tactics for their own reasons. But back to the topic. So yeah, so now I'm alert of what's going on. Then my spiritual awakening becomes more potent, more stronger. Um, I start telling my family members, I was like, hey, I feel like I'm being harassed and I don't even know how to call it or explain it. And then the one person I told, they was like, come on now, from strangers. How in the heck would strangers want to harass a stranger when you did nothing to them? So it started messing with me mentally. I felt gaslight. I'm like, dang, you're right. How can a stranger want to harass me? Right? So it started putting me back in the box of stop telling people because they think you crazy. Then it was stuff happening to my home. They started doing the break-in tactics and moving stuff around where I would have to blame my kids for it. I'm like, hey, you guys took the remote. Where's the remote? Where's the remote? Don't know where the remote is at. The remote is found outside, you guys, by my car.